Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah, asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya 'alas salah, hayya 'alas salah, hayya 'alal falah, hayya 'alal falah. Qad qamatis salah, qad qamatis salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. Inshallah, after the remaining dua, a short lesson on hadith will be imparted. All brothers are requested to participate. Jazakallah. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. اللهم لا تؤمنا مكرك ولا تنسنا ذكرك ولا تهتك عنا سترك ولا تجعلنا من الغافلين. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. The book which is in front of me is called Riyadhus Saliheen, and this book is a very famous book of Hadith. It's short, it's simple, and it's very, very beneficial. All those who study the Arabic language, and especially those who go through the Alimiyya course, who enroll on higher Islamic education, this kitab is a must study. They all go through this kitab, Riyadhus Saliheen, because of the type of ahadith which the compiler Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala has compiled within itself. Just one word on Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, the compiler of this book of hadith. He was born in the year 631 Hijri. Okay, so he was born in the year 631 Hijri, and he passed away in the year 676 Hijri. 676 Hijri. So how many years is that? Between 631 and 676, how many years? 45 years. Okay? 45 years of age only, that's it. Okay, and I'm not going to ask the next question, who from you here is 45, but let's just keep it general, and let's just keep it a question to ourselves, that how many of us have reached the 45 years old mark, and we should question ourselves that have we done anything for our hereafter. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala had already passed away at the age of 45, and this is not the only book of hadith which he has compiled. He has many other books which he has compiled and which he has authored. One is Riyadhus Saliheen, and more famous than this is a commentary of the well-renowned and the famous book of hadith, Imam Muslim. Okay, Imam Muslim compiled a very famous kitab, Sahih Muslim. So Allama Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, despite having a very short life, he has made an entire, and he has wrote an entire commentary, a tashrih on the Sahih of Imam Muslim. All this was done before he reached the age of 45. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to take work from someone, जब Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala किसी से काम लेना चाहते हैं, तो Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala मुख्तसर उम्र में भी Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala बहुत कुछ काम उससे ले लेते हैं. और ये भी जो है, दो हम दुआ करते हैं कि अल्लाह ताला हमारी ज़िंदगी में बरकत नसीब फरमाए, उस दुआ का एक मतलब ये है कि आदमी की ज़िंदगी तो मुख्तसर ही रहती है, लेकिन उस मुख्तसर ज़िंदगी के अंदर वो बहुत सारा कुछ काम कर जाता है. In that short life he has, Allah gives him so much barakah that he does so much work that even 100 years old person cannot do. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah has compiled this book, and the chapter which I've chosen is called Kitabul Adab. Now Kitabul Adab is a compilation of many beautiful ahadith. So Kitabul Adab means the book of etiquettes. So Imam Nawawi has compiled all those ahadith which have within them etiquettes and adab which we can instill in our day-to-day life. These are the ahadith which suit each and every individual. These are ahadith which are practical and which will come into use in our day-to-day life. So amongst these are many different subheadings. The first subheading is Babul Haya wa fadluhu wal hathu ala takhalluq bihi. The chapter of Haya, the fadila, the virtue of Haya, and encouraging every individual to adorn himself with this quality of Haya. Now it's very important that we understand कि Haya है क्या? That what exactly is Haya? Because if we generally ask ourselves, and before we understand the true definition of Haya, every individual will translate in the English language that Haya means modesty. We translate Haya simply as modesty. However, modesty does not do justice to the true meaning of haya. Haya is such a word that the experts say that there is no translation or no one word translation in the English language. So we have many examples like this. In Arabic, because the language is so rich and English is not as rich, there are many words which cannot be translated in one word. They have to be understood with a few word definition. So haya is one of those words. That there's no exact translation, there's close translations, there's loose translations, but there's no exact one word translations. So haya, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah himself has defined haya. And he says, قال العلماء, the ulama say, حقيقة الحياء خلق يبعث على ترك القبيح. He says haya is a quality which leads a person to stay away from everything which is unpleasant and everything which is ugly and everything which is not considered to be nice and pleasant. This is what haya is. It's something, a quality which is within you, a quality which you instill. Either you're born with it, or either you learn it and you practice it and you adopt it. But it's something which stops you from going near anything which is disliked and something which is unpleasant. Now haya can have many different forms. One is haya with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so other ulama define haya by saying haqiqatul haya'i anna mawlaka la yaraka haythu nahak. Haya means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never finds you wherever He has prohibited you from. Haya is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never finds you anywhere where He has stopped you going from. This is haya. Now how can the word modest or the word modesty give you this meaning? Okay, it's an entire definition. That wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stopped you from going, wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited you from, wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has drawn a red line, you do not go there. You do not trespass that line. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made something haram, haya means that you cannot trespass that haram of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and carry it out. Thereafter, haya with other people. Haya with other people is that you do not trouble them. Because again, this is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stopped you from. So further on he says, وَيَمْنَعُ مِنَ التَّقْصِيرِ فِي حَقِّ ذِي الْحَقِّ. Haya is something which stops you from breaking other people's rights. Haya is something which stops you from breaking other people's rights. Thereafter he quotes a very beautiful, easy to understand definition of a great Sufi, Junaid al-Baghdadi. Okay, we've all heard of Junaid al-Baghdadi. So he says, وَرَوَيْنَا عَنْ أَبِي الْقَاسِمِ الْجُنَيد. So he says, we take this definition from Abu al-Qasim al-Junaid, and that is Junaid Baghdadi, the great Sufi, which we all know. He defines haya, that haya is ru'yatul ala'i, ay an-ni'am, wa ru'yatul taqsir. Haya is to look at the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. तो हया समझा रहे हैं जुनैद अल-बगदादी, और वो समझा रहे हैं कि आदमी जो है अल्लाह की नेमतों को देखे. वरुयतुत तक़सीर, thereafter he looks at how he is deficient in the gratitude of those नेमत्स. तो आदमी नेमतों को देखे और फिर वो अपनी कोताही देखे कि नेमतों के मुकाबले में मेरी कोताही कैसी है. فَيَتَوَلَّدُ بَيْنَهُمَا حَالَةٌ تُسَمَّى الْحَيَاءُ. Then when you see the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah has given me this, Allah has given me a house, Allah has given me wealth, Allah has given me health, Allah has given me family, Allah has given me children, Allah has given me freedom, Allah has given me shelter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me safety. When he sees all these favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he sees how he's repaid Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the feeling which you feel at that time, that is exactly haya. तो आदमी जब अल्लाह की नेमतों को देखे और फिर अपनी कोताही को देखे, फिर उसको उस वक्त जो हालत पेश आती है उसको हया कहते हैं. Again, how can this be translated in one word? Okay, so you look at the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you see how you've reciprocated Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those favors, and then you feel guilty. That guilt is haya, and that is the haya which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam is talking about, and that is the haya which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rewarding an individual upon. It is also said, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in another hadith that what is haya? Again, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam posed this question to the Sahaba, that haya kya hai? What is haya? So then they answered in different ways. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, no, this is not haya. Haya is an tahfadha al-ra'sa wa ma wa'a, wal-batna wa ma hawa, wa tadhkura al-mawta wal-bila. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned three things. Haya is that you protect your head and everything within it. So everything within it refers to your mind, whatever is in your head. So your mind, your ears from listening to all those things which are not allowed, your eyes from gazing at all those things which are not allowed, and your tongue from speaking about all those things which are also impermissible. So all this is part of haya. Thereafter he says, wal batna wa ma hawa, और आदमी बचाए अपने पेट को और अपने पेट के नीचे जो कुछ है. A person, he protects his stomach, and then he protects all those things which are with or underneath his stomach. So stomach again refers to eating halal, staying away from haram. And all those things which are underneath the stomach, i.e. the private parts. A person protects all those limbs and all the guna and sins associated to those limbs. This is haya. And thereafter Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, thirdly, he remembers death and he remembers what will happen to him after death. The combination of these three things is haya. And now we understand that how we use the word haya for modesty is that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited you from, you shouldn't be doing it. And we generally used it for the physical haya. Okay, so we say have haya, have modesty, and make sure you clothe properly. Make sure you do not go into gatherings which are full